Welcome to the book of Shmuel, Alef, chapter 21, Perek Chaf Alef, where we are introduced to David I shouldn't say David HaMelech, he's not a king yet. We are introduced to David as a fugitive. He is running away from the law. He's running away from Shaul, and so you think it's like, okay, he's running away, he's hiding, but you have to understand that anyone who helps him is considered to be violating the law and rebelling against the king. So it's not an easy situation to be in. So no, but the good news is for David that not everybody knows. If everybody knew that he's a fugitive, they would turn him into the king right away. But since not everybody knows that he's wanted by the king with a death penalty waiting for him, not everyone knows. So David leaves Yonatan. Remember, they had that very emotional departure in the field where Yonatan is like, yeah, actually, my father does want to kill you. And they say goodbye. So Yonatan goes back to the city and David starts running away. David comes to the city of Nov, where the Aron, the ark, is being held with a Kohen Gadol named Achimelech. So David comes to the city of Nov, to Achimelech, and he's like, hey, how are you? Now, Achimelech doesn't know the news. He does not know that David is wanted by the law, and not only that, he thinks, rightfully, that David is a son-in-law of Shaul. So he's like, oh my gosh, the king's son-in-law, Shaul's son-in-law is here. Let me help the guy. He doesn't know that David is actually wanted by the law, and that Shaul would be really, really upset if he finds out that they're helping David. And so, first of all, Achimelech, the Kohen Gadol, turns to David and he's like, wait, why are you alone? Aren't you like a high-ranking general in the army? Aren't you like the son-in-law of the king? Why are you showing up alone? That's his first question. And so what do you do if you're David and you're a fugitive, you're wanted, you're fearing for your life? And if people find out that you're wanted by the law, they definitely won't help you. You pretend to be some kind of undercover agent. And so David turns to Achimelech and he's like, shh, I am here on a secret mission sent by the king. And he says, oh, really? Wow. And he's like, yeah. It's a very secret mission. Nobody's allowed to know it. And so David is, first of all, hungry because, remember, no one's hosting him. He's wanted by the law. He doesn't necessarily have a credit card and there's no CVS to go into. So where's he going to go? And so he says, I need food. That's number one. And Achimelech looks around. You ever go to your kitchen and look for food, but there's not much there? Anyhow, Achimelech looks around. He's like, there's no food here, but there is the Mishkan here. And we have the lechem hapanim that we put on the table of the Mishkan. And usually I would tell you it's a horrible thing. Do not touch the bread that's meant to be eaten by the Kohanim. But David is going to starve to death otherwise. It's a life-threatening situation. It's pikuach nefesh. So he says to Achimelech, yeah, once the bread is removed from the table and given to the Kohanim, why don't you give it, please, to me? Nov is a city full of Kohanim, but David, even though he's not a Kohen, is starving to death and he needs to eat. So he says, fine, give me the bread. And so he tells him, don't worry, I know it's holy. I've been behaving in a way that's appropriate and I can eat it. And now here's the problem. We have a snitch in the house. Who is there? A fellow named Doeg. The rabbis tell us that Doeg HaAdomi was a great Torah scholar, but he had a very, very bad character. He was a snitch. He liked to say not nice things about people. He liked to tattletale on people. He liked to do all kinds of things that are not great. And so, Doeg HaAdomi is there. And once David takes the bread, he's like, do you by any chance have a weapon that I can take on my very secret mission? And Achimelech is like, well, guess what? First of all, David is like, I don't have anything because I came on this urgent secret mission very quickly, so that's why I don't have anything. And then Achimelech is like, oh, you know what I have here? I have the sword of Goliath that you killed. Remember, David killed Goliath and took all of Goliath's belongings. So, David is like, wow, I see the sword of Goliath. And Achimelech is like, yeah, you can take it because it's being hid right here near the Mishkan, and it's wrapped up, and it's the best sword possible. It's a huge, huge sword. And so why don't you take it, especially since you're the one who killed Goliath. And so that's what he does. He takes it. So now David is kind of restocked He has food. He has a sword, not any sword, but the sword of Goliath. And he's off on his way. He can't hang around for too long because if Shaul finds out that he's there, he will be killed by Shaul. The next place that David goes to is a place named Gat. Gat is controlled by a Plishti-affiliated king. It's part of a larger Plishti kingdom, and it has a king of a city. In those days, there were kings for every city. And so he comes to Achish, the king of Gat, and he's looking for refuge. He's looking to hide among the Plishtim. And so Achish looks at him and he's like, wait a minute, you look familiar. And so the servants of Achish are like, wait, this is David. And remember, he killed Goliath. And do you really want to host him here? Because the guy's kind of dangerous. He killed Goliath and he's not a friend of ours. So maybe let's not host David here. And there's even a chance that he's going to kill David. So David has to do something to save his life. And he pretends to be completely having lost his mind. He pretends to be a crazy person. And he behaves in a wild way. He paints on the walls. You ever see a kid painting on the walls and the parent is like, what are you doing? And so David paints on the walls. He walks around weirdly. He's drooling, all kinds of things. Now, Achish had a wife that also, unfortunately, had this similar situation, but for real, David was pretending to be. And so Achish is like, "Hachasar meshugaim anochi? Do I not have enough crazy people around me? Ki avetem et ze lishtagea iti? Do I lack crazy people? Send them out of here." Well, at least he doesn't get killed. So that has been Perek Chaf Aleph. Quickly, what happens in Perek Chaf Aleph? Short and to the point, David comes to Nov, the city of the Kohanim. He comes to Achimelech, the Kohen Gadol, and he's like, I'm starving. And Achimelech is like, wait, you're the son-in-law of the king. You're a general in the army. What are you doing here? Why are you coming here alone? And David is like, shh, I'm on a secret mission. And David is like, because the mission was so urgent and so secret, I didn't even bring food with me. Please give me food. And Achimelech is like, I don't got food here. And he's like, oh, wait, I have the food of the Mishkan, the bread of the Lechem Apanim. David is like, don't worry, I'm pure, I can eat it. And so he takes that, he takes the sword of Goliath that is being hidden there in the Mishkan, and he goes off to Achish, the Plishti king of Gat, where the servants of Achish is like, that's David, do you really want to have him here? He could kill you. And David pretends to be crazy for them not to kill David. And that is the end of this chapter. We're going to see what happens with the adventures of David in next chapter, Perek Chaf Bet.